Sweet the whispers in your ear whenever ember wanders near. Sweet the whispers in your ear whenever ember wanders near.
No more delays. You guys have been waiting for this. You have. So, chats, let us begin the reacts today with HLC. Are we ready for some HLC? I have no idea. Bearing in mind, I don't know if he's going to talk about Spain, so be prepared. He may not actually talk about Spain because he may have recorded it before that happened. But it looks like there's something going on with Iran. So let's do this.
For my run in 2028, I will solve America's homeless problem.
Buff, we can't bomb
I'm
Los
listening.
Angeles.
Why not?
We can. It's more like a guideline, like we shouldn't.
No. What do you think? Listen, I'm refining myself here, and I'm coming up with real solutions. It's a 3-part solution.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Politician,
Lay on
since
me.
you had this bright idea, let's go ahead and start this video off this way. How are you going to solve America's homeless problem in its entirety?
I put a lot of thought into this. Okay, so step 1, we bring back asylums, because let's face it, there are some
Yes.
people that no amount of medication can ever make them functioning members of society.
Yes. 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 Oh, John. Yes. Now, more than fucking ever, we need to bring back the asylums. Absolutely. We need to not only reopen the asylums, we need to build a fuck ton more. Oh, yes. I will not calm down. My panties are fucking soaked right now, Buff. You've got... Forget about Rush's mom, Buff. I am all yours tonight already. Just without one promise, I am yours.
Let's just be real.
We may need some more regulation on that nowadays because asylums were like safe havens for human experimentation. While they did yield some good medical results, they were morally and ethically questionable.
Okay, let's be real here. Is anyone gonna have too much of a problem if they bring those back for the SJRs that we've seen as of late? Is anybody gonna complain? Let me rephrase. Is anybody that matters really gonna complain about that in regards to, say, the blue-haired person in that viral body cam video? I'm just saying, you know, all advancements in human biomedical science have come from that. It has happened. We would not have a lot of the medical advancements that we have today without. You may not like it. You don't have to agree with it. But the fact is, that is how human beings have advanced as a species. How we have come to understand ourselves as a species. So I'm saying.
Step 2, we put all the trans people in there.
Buff!
God.
I'm just kidding. You know, Reagan always opened up with a joke. I figured I might as well. No, besides, Muslims are way higher on the list. Step 2, we drastically expand America's, like, drug treatment facilities and like, halfway houses and stuff like that.
Okay.
I mean, aside from the cost, that's actually not a half bad idea.
That's not bad.
Most of them are struggling from some kind of drug addiction. But you have repeat offenders and stuff like that. And I mean, how are you going to convince John Q. Public that they're going to want to pay for that?
Oh, that's step 3, my boy.
Uh-huh.
Step 3. We make it federally legal that if a homeless person begs you for money or loiters on your property, you can use physical contact. Actually, fuck it, you know, just violence. Physical violence against them. They have 2 choices. Get better or get these fucking hands.
I cannot in good conscience support that. Bob, why do you have to do this to me? You get me all hot and bothered that you rug pull me like this. What the hell, man? No, the simple solution for the financial issue is have them work. That's a simple solution. Half like for these islands, or especially like the drug treatment programs, cheap labor. Have them work. Corporations are already getting cheap labor from what's that visa? H-1Bs. Corporations are already getting dirt cheap labor from H-1Bs and illegal immigrants. What's good for the goose? Yep, people in drug treatment programs, make them useful members of society. Have them work, and then at the same time, you're also teaching them a skill. And then that work could pay for it. I see no issue here.
And that's where you lost me. Come on, Buff. I mean, most of the United States don't even have mutual combat laws anymore.
Yeah, I might have lost you, but I got them. And besides, all 50 states have mutual combat laws if you're not a bitch.
True.
This is kind of old news. I just forgot to mention it in the last video. Hey, Russia, did you just lose another Su-57? Was that us? Someone who's gonna know if that was us.
Oh, no.
The Ukrainians are not powerful and have good enough sensors.
Oh,
and
the kid's
radars
gonna
or
go ape
anything
shit.
to be able to shoot down my 5th, maybe plus, generation stealth fighter.
Stealth, huh?
We shot it down ourselves.
Okay. Thank you, Raina. Hi. I forgot to turn this off. Thank you, Raina. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Okay. I could make jokes, but I legitimately want to hear the excuse that Slavic Special Ed comes up with for why they shot down one of their own people. I must hear this.
You know that's not any better, right? You might as well just say they did it.
Arguably worse. That's like saying, hey man, you want to fight me? Hold on, let me punch myself in the face a couple of times before we get started.
Just wait. My next wave of drones and missiles will really show them this time.
Yeah, and the next wave of orgasms that me and Buff give your mom is really going to show you something special.
You know your terror bombing at this point just does nothing but pisses us off, right?
Uh-oh.
Where did that come from?
Uh-oh.
Who? It was Russian?
Oh, fuck.
I don't like Russians.
Oh, fuck.
Will you keep control of your missiles? Because there is only so long I can keep pulling on Poland and convince him not to fold your ass.
It was a misinput. You calm the fuck down, you too. Okay, Kurva.
Uh-oh.
You just wait till I have a missed input and I make Moscow Polish again.
It was 2 years, like fucking 300 years ago, during the Russian time of troubles.
You have 1 million casualties. You've lost thousands of tanks, aircraft, ships, boats, planes, everything. You're in the time of troubles, you fucking dipshit.
Time of troubles. Oh shit, it's like that. I got one time your mom tried that thing I'm not a big fan of. There was no reason that we needed to have a goat present. What am I, Middle Eastern?
Sorry, what? Look, I knew Russia's mom was kinky. That's what makes her so fucking hot sometimes. I didn't think she saw the bestiality thing. I'm not gonna lie. This one is kind of new on me. I'm not into that. Wolf, I think you're on your own with this one. Sorry, I gotta tap out. You're on your own with this one.
You fucking plane.
I know. Shut up my mouth or whatever the fuck you're gonna say. Do it, bitch.
Do you really have members of the Senate berating Dr. Fauci, who was responsible for
Here we
trying
go.
to keep Americans alive during the most recent pandemic?
Of course, the UK would side with Fauci lying to the American people just to enrich and increase his fame to make him a rock star. Because, of course, the UK would agree with him on that one. It fits the MO perfectly.
Look, man,
Thank you,
my shit is
Zal.
missiles, radars, drones, planes. What kind of planes? I'm not a virologist. while I feel like some of his decisions that were made were not self-serving, genuinely for the betterment of the public, pleading the fifth, that's not really a good thing.
Well, okay, a point fact. It's like HLC's like, well, he thinks some of the things he did was for the betterment. We've seen the videos. We've seen the videos of Fauci and his cohorts going door to door and trying to bully people into taking the vaccine. Like, he lied about a shitload of stuff. When they went to like some guy, I think it might have been in New York, and he was with his like basically his mini army of like needle dabbers. And by the way, they had to wear masks. He didn't wear a mask. Fauci like never wore a fucking mask. And they knocked on this door and they're like, "Yeah, looks like you haven't gotten your vaccination shot." The guy's like, "Yeah, no, I'm not getting the vaccination." And then they tried to guilt trip him into it. And when he basically fired back at them, because they thought he was just some like low-rent ghetto guy, but then he fired back like, "Listen, you created a vaccine in 8 months when it takes years to properly formulate, test, retest, get trials done for a legitimate vaccine. You did it in 8 months and you wanted me to jab myself and my kids with it? Fuck you." And they couldn't actually come back from that. They're just like, "Well, you want to protect your kids and you want to make sure that your family's going to be safe." And the guy was like, "Fuck you. The hell I will." And then, of course, during the hearing, it was like literally the only thing he did was plead the fifth. Literally every answer, even to if he has a folder in front of him, what color is the carpet, what color is his tie, literally every answer was, "I plead the fifth." And plus, they also kicked his lawyer out mid-trial because his lawyer, who was sitting next to him and was not supposed to be, his lawyer was not supposed to be sitting next to him, would not shut the fuck up, and then Rand Paul said, "Fuckity bye," and had security throw him out. Like, it was a shit show. Now, is anything going to happen to Fauci? No. Anybody thinks that anything is going to happen to Fauci, you're living in dreamland. Basically, the hearing that we saw on, what was it? Wednesday? Hearing we saw on Wednesday, performative.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
theater.
he cannot legally plead the fifth, since Biden
No, he
pardoned
can't.
him from all of
That-
his potential crimes for the last 10
Y-
years.
You're
Nothing he can say will
repeating
incriminate him.
you're repeating what I think it was Josh Hawley. I believe it was Josh Hawley who said that. Yeah, you're repeating what Josh Hawley said. It's like, you have a presidential pardon. You have no right to plead the fifth. You have zero right to plead the fifth because you've received a presidential pardon. And by definition, a presidential pardon means you have already admitted guilt. So the Fifth Amendment no longer applies to you. However, if this was actually a trial worth anything, then they would have demanded he answer or throw him in jail and say, "You don't get to plead the fifth. You have to answer the question or we're going to put you in jail." They didn't do that. This was performative. Florida is suing. Yeah, Florida is state suing Fauci. Yeah, that's the workaround. Is he received a presidential pardon for federal crimes, not for state crimes. So now all 50 states, if they are so inclined, can basically sue and or arrest Fauci for the events of COVID. They can do both. They can do civil and they can do criminal because the presidential pardon does not apply to state crimes. So all 50 states, if they so choose to, have the option to royally fuck him up the ass. But the Senate hearing, that was performative. There is not a fucking thing that's going to come from it. When is the last time you guys can remember when a Senate hearing did anything? When was the last time a congressional hearing did anything? The 80s, perhaps? Maybe? 80s? Maybe the 90s? These mean nothing. This is, as Superlane pointed out, this is political theater. That's it. This was the opportunity for a bunch of Democrats to just slobber all over Fauci's dick for however long they did it for, and for a bunch of Republicans to rake him over the coals and basically just verbalize all of his crimes. That's it. That's all this was. There will not be a fucking thing that comes from this Senate hearing whatsoever. The only chance of anything happening is if the states actually take action. That's why, anytime you hear, oh, someone's getting called in front of the Senate to testify, it means fucking nothing. It means precisely dick. It always has. It always will. Until you actually get people in there that will actually do anything in regards to what these Senate hearings are supposed to do. Until you get those people elected to the Senate and elected to Congress, it's all political theater. It's all just it's all puppet show. It's all a sock puppet show, and it means precisely dick. And Biomed, thank you for the 10 gifteds. Thank you so very much. And Dan did not decline. Dan actually did go to the Senate. He had a closed door meeting. He didn't decline. He rescheduled, and they ended up having it. But it was a closed door meeting. It was not an open public meeting.
It's not a good look in general. I could completely understand that. But also getting rich while trying to save American lives.
Yep.
Also not a good look.
Yeah.
I thought he couldn't plead the fifth because he got pardoned.
I am also not a professor of constitutional law. I have never in my life heard of circumstances in which an individual doesn't have one of their fundamental rights. So I don't know. I don't know the rules on that. I understand what the senator or congressman said, and that he doesn't have that ability, but I've never in my life heard of someone having to give up one of their fundamental rights just because they got a pardon. Like I've never.
Well, again, the reason being is anytime you receive a presidential pardon, okay, this is blanket. If you receive a presidential pardon, yeah, and you're correct, a Supreme Court ruling, Josh Hawley actually cited a Supreme Court ruling in regard to this, which the ruling states is because to receive a presidential pardon, you have to admit your guilt to the crime in question. The purpose of the presidential pardon is facilitated as an act of mercy, where you as an individual commit a crime, but you are not a bad person. You did not commit this crime because you're a dirty thief or because you're a psychopath. We'll go with the example. Okay, I give you the perfect example. The guy who killed his son's abuser, Gary, I forget his last name. His last name escapes me. There was a book written about him called Why Gary Why. His young son was being Gary Plouffe. Thank you, Gary Plouffe. His son was being sexually abused by his karate teacher, I believe. And I think Gary tried to go there, do the right way, and I believe, if memory serves, he did try to go to the police, tried to get him arrested. The police wouldn't do anything, so Gary basically did it himself. He basically killed his son's sexual abuser. He got it. He did this really badass under-the-arm shot with a revolver from a distance of, I think it might have been 10 or 15 feet. He made an incredible fucking shot with the gun positioned underneath his arm where he was hiding it. Killed his son's abuser. Got arrested for it, and I believe he did go to prison for it too. That would be the primary scenario for where a presidential pardon would be used. Obviously, the man did commit a crime, but he did it because his son was being abused by this person. The police did nothing. He felt like he had nowhere to turn. He had no options left, and it was an act of desperation on the part of a father whose child was being abused. That is kind of the poster for why a presidential pardon is. Oh, he did get probation, no jail time. Okay, well, if Gary did get sent to prison, okay, let's go on the assumption. If Gary had been sent to prison, that would be a scenario. That is what the presidential pardon was basically intended for. He's a good guy. He had to make an impossible choice because his son was being abused. The police were doing nothing. And so he basically took an extreme measure to protect his son. That is typically the type of thing that a presidential pardon be for. He did a terrible thing, but he's not a bad person. He made an impossible choice that had to be made to protect his family. He is admitting guilt, but he's not serving, but he would be released from any prison time if he had received it. But again, a core part of that is you are admitting to guilt of the crime. So the rationale behind the Supreme Court, really is the Fifth Amendment is specifically the right to not incriminate yourself. It's you have the civil right under the Fifth Amendment that you do not have to. You cannot be forced to incriminate yourself to like a legal to police officer or to the courts. That is what that is about. But with a pardon, you are admitting guilt to the crime in order to receive the pardon. So therefore, you have already admitted to the crime, so the Fifth Amendment would no longer apply to self-incrimination because the incrimination is you have admitted to the incrimination in order to receive the pardon. And that's where it applies to Fauci. Fauci received a presidential pardon without being charged for anything. He received a blanket presidential pardon from Biden for COVID. So to receive that presidential pardon, Fauci would have basically either implicitly or verbally admitted to the crimes of which he was being preemptively pardoned for. Therefore, Fifth Amendment would not apply. That's the entire argument. Now, does that matter in that Senate hearing? No. Why? Because if what Josh Hawley, and I hope I am getting the senator that was citing this correct on this one, if he was correct in that Fifth Amendment doesn't protect you on this, then you should have been thrown in jail. Because if you refuse to answer questions, you are in contempt. You are in contempt to the court, and you are in prison. You can be locked up in jail until you decide, I'm ready to answer. That's why I say the Senate hearing meant absolutely nothing. Because if it actually had any kind of weight whatsoever, they would have held him in contempt and put him in jail until he was ready to actually answer questions.
I'm genuinely curious. It doesn't make any sense to me.
So berating him was just political theater. Theater.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, that word is hard in this accent.
Theater. And yes, UK is actually right on this one. It was political theater.
Well, that depends on what happens next. If he's held accountable, either civilly or criminally, then no, it's not political theater. And they were absolutely true and correct when they said that he didn't have that fundamental right. But if nothing happens and everyone just gets mad and posts shit all over Twitter, yeah, political theater.
Yes.
I'm going to save you on this one, boss. I've been around a long time. Not as long as you, but if a politician is speaking, it's political theater.
Ukraine,
Yeah,
in the last
pretty
video
much.
we had talked about, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because they actually said this. In the last video, we talked about you blowing up that ship that was supposed to be bringing me supplies in the Caspian Sea. And I want to remind you that any aggression towards me is obviously you operating at the behest of Israel.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Do you have goat semen in your ears? Look, man, I made this very clear in the last video. It's like...
And by the way, Ukraine, yes. The answer to that question with Iran will always and forever be fuck yes. There is 100% goat semen overflowing out of the ears, nose, and throat of Iran. And his asshole, too. Can't forget about that.
Russia was moving equipment that could be used for military purposes, I destroy it. Like, it's not very hard to understand.
Oh, God. Iran changed the fucking record, dude. Seriously. I'm so tired of it's the Jews. It's always the Jews. Bro, think of something fucking else, man.
A hot take, conspiracy theory. You know why I think Iran's doing that? Why they're basically blaming Ukraine, or with the whole thing with Ukraine is saying you're an agent of the Jews. You know why I think they're doing it? This is gonna sound a little bit wild. Because Hassan and Sneeko do it. I think that's why. I think they're doing it because Hassan and Sneeko do it. And in case you were not aware, Hassan and Sneeko are both featured on Iranian TV all the time. Hassan and Sneeko have basically become the de facto spokespeople for the Iranian government to the Iranian people. Like, they broadcast their streams to the Iranian people. So I'm thinking because Hassan and Sneeko are constantly blaming the Jews for literally fucking everything, I think that's why they did that line with Ukraine of you're being controlled by the Jews, because it's the Hassan and Sneeko line. And since they're if they'd done anything else, when Hassan and Sneeko are constantly saying that, they'd be basically going against the ideologies of the very people that they're basically propping up as being like stands of Iran that they want the people to listen to and agree with. So they they're basically audience capturing themselves. Because the two spokesmen that they've chosen, they are effectively audience capturing themselves with their spokespeople. It's a tinfoil hat theory. It may completely be bonkers and have absolutely no basis in reality. That's just my little conspiracy theory about it. That's all.
Like, don't get me wrong, they ain't perfect, and I call them out for plenty of bullshit whenever they do it. Corn clipping, digging tunnels under New York, USS Liberty. Still kind of upset about that. But anyways, dude, seriously, your fucking Ayatollah, if he could walk or was even fucking alive, stub his toe and he's like, the Jews!
They are the #1 aggressor here in the Middle East.
Have you considered, like, not funding terror groups that attack them randomly and then surprised when your terror homies get bodied and killed? And innocent people?
By the way, I don't know if it's going to make it in this video because this may have just come out today. Supposedly, supposedly on this, bear in mind, but supposedly, Trump has reached some kind of a deal that will facilitate the disarmament of Hamas. That, like, I saw something about that on Twitter today. He hasn't, I thought there was something that he posted talking about, like, they'd come to, like, some kind of thing about, like, disarming Hamas or something like that. No, exactly. Like, number one, I don't believe it. I think if this is legit, if this is legit, and it was not just some bullshit that I didn't dig into it. Okay, I saw this while I was working today, so I kind of skimmed through it. I saw this, I was like, oh, interesting, and moved on. If it's legit, no guarantee that it is. Number one, don't know about being legit. Number two, don't think Hamas is going to disarm. Number three, even if they pretend to disarm, they're not going to stay that way. They're going to do the same thing that basically Islamic terrorists do every single time any kind of quote-unquote deal happens with the U.S. and break it in 24 hours. But I just thought that was, considering what was just saying, I just thought I'd bring up that thing that I saw. Again, I could be completely wrong, and it's not even real. It looked like it was a tweet from Trump, from Truth Social. I don't know.
It's kind of hard to tell the difference when they don't wear a uniform. Just throwing that out there.
Why would I do that and even listen to you in the West? You are their little lapdog. No. You're just a piece of shit.
Oh, yeah. Uh-oh.
What in the hell, Saudi?
Yeah, that was a joint operation. Sorry we couldn't warn you ahead of time, but we don't really trust people in your country. But don't worry, all 20 of them were IRGC. Verified.
Saudi, it was supposed to be us against the
Nice.
Zionists. No. It is regular Muslims that want to live in peace against extremism. Why do you think the extremism laws in all functioning Middle Eastern countries are so fucking strict? Because we don't put up with the bullshit like you do.
And by the way, just as a reminder, this, was it Saudi Arabia? No, was it Saudi Arabia or Qatar or both that basically are not allowing or not paying for students to go to the UK for education anymore because the UK has become a radical Islamic nation. I can't remember if it was Qatar or Saudi or both. Was it Saudi? Okay, I couldn't remember which one it was. It was the UAE, or was it the UAE? Yeah, I think it's basically like this entire region. I honestly think it's like this entire region that's basically like, we're not going to pay for you to go to the UK to study because the UK has become a radical Islamic nation and we do not want our people to get radicalized. Like, think about that. If it's that bad in the UK that even the Muslims are saying, your ass is too fucking radical, UK, you done fucked up. Simple as that.
Oh shit, dude. We're bombing Iraq again? Holy throwback. Don't worry, Bush. We'll get Katrina this time. That plane has done so many drugs.
Yes.
At this point,
Yes, it
I'm
has.
wondering if he would be more or less scary sober. Now, Iran, whatever. We have stopped bombing your country after like 12 days of doing so. You have about 20% of what you had previously. Let's open the door and maybe start having a conversation. Sorry to interrupt you two lovebirds, but we got incoming.
Of course.
Fireball. All right, we got birds away. Splash on all incoming TBMs. Fucker thought he was quick. Surprise.
Another way.
Whoa. Oh, you got me there, man.
Really?
Dude,
Really?
he's super sneaky. He like disappeared.
God damn it, Uncle Sam. Will you tell Washington to stay the fuck out of war? You cannot negotiate
Yes.
with people that want to kill you.
Yes, Buff. Yes, Buff. This is what literally everyone is saying. This is what soldiers have said since the beginning of fucking time. If there's a war, politicians need to sit down and shut the fuck up and let the military work. If you just let the military fucking work, shit will get done. The moment Washington tries to put a leash on them and say, okay, we need you to win hearts and minds, that's when you lose. You lose when Congress or Washington at all gets involved. If you basically just tell the military, this is what we need to accomplish, go, they will literally get it done in a fraction of the time that it would take for the politicians to do all their bullshit politicking and back channel bullshit. Every fucking time.
So here's what you do. You tell the politicians, hey, take a back seat. Your job was diplomacy. Mine is war. You failed at yours. I'm not going to fail at mine.
Yes.
And you just tell them to stay the fuck out of the way, and we keep killing them until
Thank you.
whatever's left of whatever version of Ayatollah they're on walks up and says, hey, can you please stop murdering us? And then we decide if that's a good enough fucking deal.
Yes.
Listen, Buff, I've been here 250 years. I agree with you. I think you guys just saw my mouse on. Wow, that's. Shouldn't have had that on that screen. Anyways, so I'm going to just go ahead and quote General Sherman here.
Is it?
War is cruelty. There is no use trying to reform it. The
Yep.
crueler it is, the sooner it will be over.
Yeah.
The reality is, the IRGC doesn't want peace.
No.
They don't. Under any stretch of the imagination. Making peace with anybody is a very Western ideology. Most
Yes,
of them
it
out there
is.
in the world aren't going to be satisfied until one of them no longer exists.
Look at Spain. Look at what happened in Spain. Do you think that's them wanting to peaceably coexist with the people in those two Spanish outcrop cities off of Morocco? No. They're taking over. They literally they literally had thousands upon thousands of Muslims flood the city with the express purpose of taking it over and then moving north into Spain proper. That is their purpose. They've been trying to break into houses. They've been busting up property. They've been busting up people. They are not there for peace. They are there for a takeover, a hostile takeover. That is what they do. You can't negotiate. You can't negotiate with it. Okay? You can't negotiate with these people. Because here's the reality of it. People don't want boots on the ground in Iran. And I understand why, but the logic honestly behind it is flawed. The reason why people don't want boots on the ground in Iran is because of GWAT. Everybody remembers what happened with GWAT. Everybody remembers what a shit show GWAT was. Do you know why GWAT was a shit show? GWAT was a shit show because they were doing the whole bullshit hearts and minds thing, and they basically had a choke chain on the military, and, the politicians had a choke chain on the military and wouldn't let the military. If you sent the military into Iran and said, your job is to kill every IRGC member and to basically collapse the extremist Muslim Iranian government. That's your mission. You send them in, and then the politicians back off and don't do a fucking thing. It would be done in a month. If that. If they actually sent in ground troops and let them hit hard and fast and just said, here's your job, do your job, and then backed off, they would be in and out inside a fucking month, mission accomplished. If you just let the military. It's literally as simple as that. No, it would be out. No, it would be out. There's too much ground to cover. They have all the caves that they need to basically root through and everything. It wouldn't take hours. There was one, I think I can't remember if it was a general or if he was like a full bird or what he was, but like a military officer actually like literally said, if we did troop insertions into Iran with this kind of mission specific and they didn't have a leash on them from Congress, it could be done. I think he said 60 days. I would actually wager that it would be 30 days and you'd be able to do mission accomplished 30 days, minimal loss of troops. And you could be like in, out, done, fuck off, give the Iranian people, give the Persians their country back, and mission accomplished. If the politicians basically just said, go, and then backed off, and then didn't fuck with it whatsoever. That's the keynote and distinction. The politicians would have to be 100% hands off and let the military. That's it. And they could accomplish the mission.
And I tell you right now, if we moved out of there and they wiped Israel off the map, they would still be at war with one another because of different tribes, different factions, slightly different belief.
Oh, yeah, them terror monkeys have been killing each other for fucking millennia over whoever that has the best fucking imaginary friend in the sky.
No, it's over who has the best goat pussy. Let's get it right, Bob. They kill each other because of who has the better goat pussy, and they want that goat pussy for themselves. Let's not fuck with it, okay? Let's be real here. We gotta be real. Gotta be honest. And yes, that region will always kill each other. It's gross, but am I wrong? Am I wrong? You can call it gross all you want. It is gross. But you can't call me wrong. Okay? Yeah, this region of the world will never be peaceful. They won't. Their religion dictates that they cannot be peaceful. Okay, that is literally part of their religion, and their religion is what rules their life in the modern day. So there will never be peace unless by some fucking miracle that entire region goes secular. There will never be peace in the Middle East. It's not possible. No amount of deal making, no amount of basically like, okay, we're gonna throw some bombs and none of that. Unless they either are secular or forced to change, nothing. They will always be killing each other, and they're always going to try and kill everyone that is not like them forever. It will never change.
I'm a student of history. I pay attention to things that have happened. I know what all-out war looks like. I've never seen it personally. I've studied it heavily. More people were killed on mainland Japan with napalm than both atomic bombs combined. Most Americans don't know that. The Berlin firebombing.
Yeah.
90,000 people killed by Americans, Canadians, and British in about a week.
Yeah.
These things are awful.
Yes.
But oftentimes to win against someone who is that devout, you have to put them into a precarious position between a rock and a hard place.
Again, slight disagreement. When someone is that devout, you need to put the hurt on them. People that are that devout understand two things: pain and fear. That is what devout people like that understand. They understand nothing else. Well, he said, yeah, put him in a rock and a hard place. It's hang on.
Most Americans don't know that. The Berlin firebombing. 90,000 people killed by Americans, Canadians, and British in about a week. These things are awful. But oftentimes to win against someone who is that devout, you have to put them into a precarious position between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, see, what he's saying is you have to put them into a position where you're sort of taking option away from them. I disagree. You need to put fear into them. Okay? That's not a bad plan. That's legitimately not a bad plan. Again, it's working the fear angle, because fear, when it comes to criminality or terror or considering basically attacking other people or other nations, fear is the greatest deterrent you will ever have, by far. But there is nothing. Think about this. Why aren't we doing an attack against Russia? No, Russia is a hostile foreign nation. Why aren't we attacking? Why isn't the United States attacking and going after Russia? Take a guess. It's because, while they may not be functional, there's a big question mark about them being functional. They may have nukes. There is a possibility that they may have nukes. And, if we were to attack Russia and they have functional nukes, they could effectively set off a chain reaction that would destroy the war. It's reason, calculation, not fear. No, but it is, you can call it's reason, calculation, not fear. There is an element of fear. Okay? Reason, calculation is just like, okay, when you're talking about like the calculation of cost benefit analysis, the negative side of the cost benefit of analysis is rooted in fear. Okay, we may not quantify it in that way, but it is rooted in fear, because fear is a core human emotion that drives humanity for practically everything, is one of the core emotions that basically facilitates human beings doing what you do. And it's not only you fear the political consequences, you fear the potential real consequences of if they do have functional nukes and they launch one, and now all of a sudden everybody's launching nukes, it could destroy the war. That is fear. It's factored into situational evaluation, but it is fear. That is the driving behavioral factor, one of the two primary driving behavioral factors of all humanity. Fear and pleasure. Those are the two things that drive humans to do literally fucking everything. I'm going to do something because I may achieve pleasure. I'm going to avoid doing something because I have fear. That's it. That is why fear is the single greatest motivational factor to stop someone or nations from doing something. Introduce that fear, you'll actually stop the terrorist attacks, if you've got the balls to do it. That's the keynote of distinction.
Where what is more important to them, remaining in power or the continued existence of their people?
Are you speaking of a genocide?
No, that would be easy. We could do that in 5-6 hours. What I'm speaking of is hitting military targets, infrastructure, and any way that they could use to build anything so hard that they have no choice but face annihilation.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, and of course we would try and mitigate civilian casualties as much as possible, but I challenge anyone to find a war in human history where innocent civilians were not killed. You won't find one.
Yeah.
I've never seen one.
Nope.
Also, this is like day one OPSEC stuff. Whoever is in the Middle East right now, can you stop posting videos and pictures of strikes and things like that? Stop giving the enemy BDAs, which is battle damage assessments. They know how close they are. They know what adjustments they need to make. Stop doing that. You've disappointed me. Although I will say, when I was required mandatory online training, this wasn't happening. Okay, everybody calm down. There's just some people at the border
He's
who
talking
want
about
to
it.
come here into Spain and just experience a new life. Spain, you literally have thousands of people pouring over your border from
Tens
Morocco.
of thousands.
You should deploy some kind of force to, like, at least organize it a little bit.
Yep.
No, they are mostly women and children looking for a better life.
Wait, is that the government line? I don't think I heard that one yet. Is that the government line, that it's women and children that are mostly coming across the border? 53,000 at last estimate? Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, we've seen the videos. We have seen the videos. It is like 98, 99% quote-unquote military-aged men that are coming across that border. We saw maybe out of all of them, we saw maybe, and it was difficult because the camera was at a distance, maybe 2 women and 1 child. Maybe. And again, camera was at a distance. It was hard to make out details, so could be seeing, say, it may not have been what we were seeing, but we saw like perhaps 2 women, and one of those was like pushing a stroller. That's it. Out of everyone, it was otherwise all men. That's what we saw.
I don't think I've seen a single woman and or child in any of the videos I've seen. All of them are military-aged males.
Yep.
I don't know how Morocco aligns. That's not really a part of the world that I paid attention to very much.
It's Muslim. I looked it up yesterday. Morocco, where all of these, this invasion is coming from, their source countries are Muslim in nature.
So, but this could be problematic.
Oh, shit, man, I can't wait to visit Spain next year. You guys are going to have a whole new, like, holiday, the running of the immigrant.
Yeah. Oh, I know about Italy. Yeah, that they closed everything off. They locked it down. Yeah. It's the minute that swarm, the minute that invasion crosses the strait, it's game over. I'm telling you right now, it will be game over the minute that crosses the strait, because I'm telling you right now, the 54,000 that we've seen crossing already, that's a forward force. That is a preliminary frontline force. There is a main body coming up from the rear. There are more coming, probably double or triple in that size. If they're successful, if this initial insertion force is successful in their endeavors, there will be a 2 to 3 times larger full invasion force that will be bringing up the rear. I guarantee it.